right now in this time, it's just so interesting because our first planned physical event is not until Q3 of next year. And it's in a small enough destination, which actually makes me more comfortable, right? It's not a high traffic airport. It's not a high traffic, it's not a top tier 1 city. It's smaller, and so it makes my organization feel more comfortable from a safety standpoint, asking people to come. It's a little bit more removed. It's not in a resort community. It's not in a big bustling city. And I think that's why we're committed to that physical event, because it does offer a little bit more space and flexibility.
If the destination supports the protocols, instead of saying we're not going to require them in this location, being a destination location, not a specific hotel, if the destination supports those protocols, they're much more likely to consider it than a destination that is not supporting those protocols. I think we can look around the country and figure out where those are and aren't.
Comping your convention center comes to mind. Some bureaus are doing that, and they're doing it for the short term, just for like 2021. I need to have them do that, out into 2022, because honestly, people are hesitant, if at all, booking anything new into 2021 at this point. 2022, yes, we're seeing some RFPs come in. 22, 23. Some of the deals that the CVBs are running, where we're giving free convention center space, that they could be doing that until like Q1, Q2 of 2022. That would be valuable. Anything they can do to loosen up terms to get groups to move forward as far as attrition and cancellation, that will help. We have not seen a lot of rate loosening up. It's mostly better terms that we're seeing in contracts, but if there's anything you can do on rate, we always say groups are going to be looking for that. A lot of groups are just so financially devastated by this. It's going to take them a while to move forward at all. So they're looking for whatever they can get.
We've used so many destinations, but the first thing I look at, because I'm a bit of a they call me the handbrake, which means like hang on, let's think about this, is the country's stability, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, is it safe? COVID, World Health Organization, ease of travel, visa restrictions, immunizations, all of those things I would look at first, because if they're difficult or cumbersome or restrictive, then I would say, okay, we're not going to use that destination.
Flexibility is probably the key. Being able to have the flexibility. Often with cities and with centers, your deadlines are 18 months out, 12 months out. And as we're seeing today is, we don't even know what 6 weeks out is right now. So flexibility is the key. The other is going to be, we're seeing more and more centers. It's becoming very competitive because business isn't happening. Centers being able to offer some incentives. Centers working with the hoteliers again to have attrition at 0 or something minor. Cities being able to provide marketing pieces that we can share with our members that will let them believe that they're safe. Because when it comes down to it, the members got to feel like that they're safe coming to the city.
They're going to have as much knowledge as possible, but I just think they're going to have to market a little bit differently than they've done in the past. Probably a lot more staff and ambassadors assisting with things and helping people with things throughout the city, I think. But also just destinations in general, being able to market safe activities for people in this new environment, and be able to have people. Some people are going to want to go to restaurants and do stuff, but some people aren't. So being able to market those different activities and be able to have them readily available for people to know other things they can do outside of, eating in an indoor restaurant, etc., is going to be super important.
I think we'll need a whole update on like what protocols the hotel is taking to, extend safety, and then also what things are open. Because I think that's one of the big challenges too. It's like, okay, if I decide that we're going to go ahead and move forward and try to have an actual event, then are we also able to enjoy what we came to see?
I think their job is going to be harder. They've done an okay job, in my opinion, of trying to engage with us virtually with proposing, virtual scavenger hunts or trivia or things of that nature. But they're going to have to do a better job, I think, at partnering with the hotels. And so if I'm planning a physical meeting, I want to know what do those virtual engagements look like immediately, right off the bat. Like, it's not going to be something that I seek. It's going to be something that I want just sort of offered to me.
I look at it kind of I'll use the analogy of when you buy a house. When you buy a house, it truly is all about health and safety when you go in and do your inspection. And I think it's going to be the same thing at a convention center or at a hotel. I'm going to be looking at it differently. It's not necessarily going to be, are the tables nice? It's going to be, how many sanitation stations do they have? What are we doing for social distancing? Can we do things like floor cleans? Where in the past, a lot of places like, no, you can't put anything on our floors. We don't want anything affixed. We're gonna have to work on those types of things.
I personally don't use them. I know one of my colleagues does. I think it comes from a background of how you've used them in the past. For me, I am from Australia originally, so I lean on more of a DMC to help with things. But I guess, yeah, I never really knew that they existed before I came here. But then one of my colleagues uses them all the time, and that's her go-to when she's going to a new destination. That's the first place she goes to. So yeah, I think it's just kind of knowing what they can do for me, and that's something that I'm continually learning.
For all of our citywide meetings, we source ththose directly through the CVBs. So really do feel CVBs are extremely important to our industry, not only from a marketing perspective, but even more important now than they were before, because there are access to all of the knowledge. They're the ones fighting right now to get live meetings back. They're the ones, exploring all those options are going to help us, source new things in the city and help have our meetings happen safely.
Well, I come from a CVB background, so I have always known their importance and what they bring to the table, and they bring something very different to the table than a hotel would bring or a Helms Briscoe person would bring. So we copy all our CVBs in on all the RFPs that we send out, because we know we need from them the destination information. We need from them help when the client is coming in to do a site inspection. Often the CVB will pick up the airfare. They definitely will host meals. Lots of times they'll just help us put together the whole site inspection for the client. So yeah, we utilize them on a daily basis. We are hand-in-hand partners with them.
We do use CVBs throughout the world, and I think the CVB is going to have to become much more involved in the process. I'll give you an example. When we canceled our North American citywide, the CVB was really involved. As we're looking now into 2021, for North America, the CVB was more than involved, because we started that process now of going to the hotels, going to the center, and doing different requirements. So I think what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to stay involved, and in fact get much more involved and kind of go to bat for the customer itself. Because if the Bureau wants our business in the short term, they're going to have to do it in a different way, and they're going to help us play ball, because we still want to do a face-to-face event. We're just not going to have the same amount of people that we would normally have if there wasn't a pandemic.
I think they're absolutely the best thing we have going for us in the business. I can't think of any reason not to use one, because they have the local knowledge that we need going into an area if we've never worked that particular area before. But in addition to that, they know what hotels are looking for business. They know what hotels can handle every kind of group that you might have, what might be most appropriate and what would not work. They have incentives that I think make a really big difference. They can connect. They have websites for your groups that are coming into town. They set them up with discounts for restaurants. And the CVBs that's the best thing I've found in the business. That's like total support that costs me nothing but some time. And you build up a relationship with them, and if they got something wonderful going on, they'll give you a call. You can put it right with a group that you may have looking for a location, and they're just a wonderful resource.